Hello everyone! Welcome to our third video that is going to cover non-functional types of software testing. First, we are going to talk a little bit about types of testing in general, and then we're going to talk about our main subject for this video. And of course, at the end, you can test yourself with a few questions we prepared. Well, before we even start with different types of something, let's first see what that something actually is. What is a type of software testing? Every application has its purpose and goals that users can achieve by using it. In order to test the software properly and to validate that it serves the intended purpose, we must know those intended goals, objectives. Software testing type is a classification of different testing activities into categories where each type has three things: test objective, test strategy, and test results. So why are we having those testing types? We have them so we can validate the application under test for the defined test objective. When we take a look at the software, we analyze what are the needs and objectives so we could know what and how it should be tested. The best example that you can always remember is for the accessibility testing as a type. Its goal is to validate the application under test to be accessible by disabled people. So if you know that your software must be disabled friendly, what you do, you check it against accessibility test cases. Since we mentioned this disabled friendly phrase, let's explain what that actually means when we say something friendly. Because in our job, you'll get to hear a lot of, for example, user-friendly phrase, which basically means that it should be easy to use for a user that has no knowledge about the application he uses, that he can easily use it and understand it. So, disabled friendly would mean that software should be behaving in a way that disabled people would not have difficulties to use it. When you think of it, it is just a special kind of a user-friendly phase. Now, let's get back to our subject. So, what are the different types of software testing? In general, there are 4 testing types: functional, non-functional, structural, and change-related testing. You may find some differences in the above classification in different books and reference materials, but this is the classification by ICQB. Under these types of testing, you may find multiple testing levels, but usually people call them as testing types. But whatever you call them, it's not important. The important thing is to know what specific testing type represents. Also, note that not all testing types apply to all projects, but it depends on the nature and scope of the project. Remember when we said that one of the testing principles is that testing is context dependent. And what else? We must say that each type of testing has its own advantages and disadvantages. Okay, now let's go to the next question. How is non-functional testing defined? Non-functional testing is defined as a type of software testing to check non-functional aspects. So, like performance, usability, reliability, and so on, of a software application. We use it to check, is the system ready when looking into non-functional parameters, which are never checked by the functional testing. Non-functional refers to aspects of the software that may not be related to a specific function. And a great example of non-functional test would be to check how many people can simultaneously log in into a software. So, you are not actually testing the login functionality, can user and how can user log in, but you want to see if that functionality is used by a large number of users, how will application respond to that? Will it break? Will it be slow? Will it have some unexpected errors? So, the easiest way for you to remember what is it is that we're checking it how the good system works. And we must say that non-functional testing is equally important as functional testing. So, now let's see what are the types. Performance testing, security testing, volume testing, compatibility testing, recovery testing, usability testing, portability testing, reliability testing, localization testing, and scalability testing. Okay, now let's talk about each of them. Performance testing. It determines how the stability, the speed, scalability, and responsiveness of the application holds up under a given workload. It's a really important aspect of software quality, but unfortunately, it is often done once the functional testing is completed, and in most cases after the code is already done to be released. The goals of performance testing include evaluating application output, processing speed, data transfer velocity, network bandwidth usage, maximum concurrent user, memory utilization, workload efficiency, and command response times. Now let's mention a few examples so you could understand it more. For example, what you can do, you can verify response time that is not more than 4 seconds when 1000 users access to the website simultaneously. Verify response time of the application under load is within an acceptable range when the network connectivity is slow. Check the maximum number of users that the application can handle before it crashes. Check database execution time when, for example, 500 records are read or written simultaneously. Security testing. Security testing is a type of software testing that ensures security to your software system and application. It takes care of the fact that your system are free from any vulnerabilities or threats that may cause a big loss. Security testing of any system is about searching for any possible loopholes and weaknesses of the system which might result in a breach in the security. For example, it can be a loss of information, of revenue, or the reputation of the organization. The main focus of this testing is to keep your software away from any threats so that your system does not get exploited. It will help you to detect such problems and to solve them. Now, there are a few security testing types now. Vulnerability testing, security testing, penetration testing, risk assessment, security auditing, ethical hacking. To understand this better, let's mention a few specific things that can be checked. Authentication. What that means? It means that only authentic user should be able to log in. So, you go to some website and you enter your credentials, so your username and password. And then, what happens? Those credentials that you provided are compared to those on a file in a database of that user, of you, and If it is a match, then you are able to log in, and if it's not, you're not going to be able to log in. What's next? You need to make sure if you're authorized user. Users should be able to log in into those modules, into those parts of the application, only for which he is authorized. So you have to have access to get into some specific part of the applications. We should talk about the roles. So in every application, there are a few roles that can be logged in, if I may say. So you have a regular user, admin user, super admin user, and etc. And each of them have certain rights, and so those rights provide you the access to the certain modules of the application. What's next? We should check the password. In what way? Well, password requirements should be verified. For example, if there is a requirement that password should be, for example, 10 characters long, to have special characters and etc. So you have to check if there is a possibility to create an account where you don't follow the requirements for the password. Timeout. If the application is inactive, then it should time out in a specific time. So you log into application, you do something. Then you get up, go make a coffee, make a lunch, and some time passes. And you go back, what happens? What should happen is the timeout. You should log in again in order to proceed. Data backup. Data backup should be taken into a specified time and should be copied to a secure location. So, what else? Internal links to the web application should be not accessible if you place them directly to the browser. So, if you as a user should not have access to some specific URL, then you should not be able to access it just by copying it into the browser. Next one we're going to talk about is volume testing. Volume testing definition refers to validating the performance of the software when it processes large data volumes. What are the objectives of that volume testing? Volume tests cover a wide range of operations and infrastructure components like databases, online systems, file exchanges, file systems, and system memory. Validating such a wide range of elements helps testers achieve those objectives. Let's give an example. If the application is processing the database to create a report, a volume test would be to use a large result set and check if the report is printed correctly. What do we need it for? Well, we need it to detect errors induced by pressure in the system components. One of the objectives of software volume testing is to detect issues that only show when the data load increases. High response time, system failure, or security exploits. What else do we need it for? Testing system response time. Volume testing is effective as it helps company managers to ensure that software performance is not disrupted and the system response speed keeps to be consistently high regardless of the amount of data users share via software. And the important thing is to ensure that there's no data loss. Only through volume testing in software testing, the project team can ensure that no data is lost as the size of the database and the pressure on the system increases. When you might need volume testing in real life, to get a better understanding of the use of volume testing for websites, apps, and web application projects, here are a few volume testing examples that illustrate how should it be used in real life. For example, when the product or a user database on the website increases, or if you're about to load a number of items into shopping website database, volume testing is crucial to ensure that your infrastructure is capable of handling an extended data load. Let's proceed. Compatibility testing is a non-functional testing conducted on the application to evaluate the application's compatibility within different environments. It can be two types: forward compatibility testing and backward compatibility testing. Let's look into compatibility testing types. Hardware. It checks software to be compatible with different hardware configurations. Operating systems. It checks your software to be compatible with different operating systems like Windows, macOS, and etc. Software. It checks your developed software to be compatible with other software. For example, MS Word applications should be compatible with other software like MS Outlook or Excel. Next one, network. Evaluating of performance of a system in a network with varying parameters such as bandwidth, operating speed, capacity. It also checks application in different networks with all parameters mentioned here. Browser. It checks the compatibility of your website with different browsers like Firefox, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, etc. Devices. It checks compatibility of your software with different devices like USB port devices, printers, scanners, media devices, Bluetooth. Mobile. Checking your software if it is compatible with mobile platforms like Android. Versions of the software. It is verifying your software application to be compatible with different versions of the software. For instance, checking your Microsoft Word to be compatible with Windows 7, Windows 7 SP1, and so on. What do we have next? Recovery testing. What is it? Well, it is a type of non-functional testing that is performed in order to determine how quickly the system can recover after it has gone through system crash or hardware failure. Recovery testing is the forced failure of the software to verify if the recovery is successful. It is done by professional testers. Before recovery testing, adequate backup data is kept in secure location. This is done to ensure that the operation can be continued even after a disaster. Let's give just an example. When an application is receiving data from the network, let's unplug the connecting cable. After some time, plug the cable back and analyze the application's ability to continue receiving data from the point at which the network connection was broken. Restart the system while the browser has a definite number of sessions open and check whether the browser is able to recover all of them or not. Those would be some examples. Usability testing is also known as user experience testing, is testing method for measuring how easy and user-friendly software application is. The goal of this testing is to satisfy users and mainly concentrates on the following parameters of a system: the effectiveness of the system, efficiency, accuracy, and controls. The effectiveness of the system. So, what should we check there? Is the system easy to learn? Is the system useful and adds a value to the target audience? Are content, color, icons, images used as they should? Efficiency. While little navigation should be required to reach the desired screen, or web page and scroll bars should be used infrequently. An option to search within software application or website should be present. Accuracy. No outdated or incorrect data like contact information, address should be present. No broken links should be present. And what about the controls? Well, controls used to be self-exploratory and must not require training to operate. Help should be provided for the users to understand the application website, and the alignment with the above goals helps in effective usability testing. Portability testing. Portability testing is the process of testing with ease with which the software or product can be moved from one environment to another. It is measured in terms of maximum amount of effort required to transfer from one system to another system. The portability testing is performed regularly throughout the software development lifecycle in an iterative and incremental manner. Let's give an example. One example includes testing of a product which is well functioning in Windows 7 and measuring its behavior in Windows 8. This is measured in terms of the effort involved in the task. Examples of portability testing of an application that is to be portable across multiple hardware platforms, operating systems, and browsers. Being able to move software from one machine platform to another, either initially or from an existing environment. It can be both. It refers to system software or application software that can be recompiled for a different platform, or to software that is available for two or more different platforms. Reliability testing is a software testing process that checks whether the software can perform a failure-free operation for a specified time period in a particular environment. The purpose of reliability testing is to assure that the software product is bug-free and reliable enough for its expected purpose. That helps uncover issues in the software design and functionality. What are the parameters involved in reliability testing? Probability of failure-free operation, length of time of failure-free operation, the environment in which it is executed. So those are the parameters, and now let's give an example. The probability that a PC in the store is up and running for 8 hours without crashing is 99%. This is referred as reliability. The following formula is for calculating the probability of failure. Well, the probability equals to the number of failing cases divided by total number of cases under consideration. The objective behind performing reliability testing are to find the structure of repeating failures, to find the number of failures occurring in a specified amount of time, to discover the main cause of failure, to conduct performance testing of various modules of software application after fixing defects. Let's move forward to the localization testing. That is performed to verify the quality of a product's localization for a particular target culture or locale, and is executed only on the localized version of the product. This process of adapting a product to a different language, region, and locale are called localization. So, that testing is verifying if the product is adapted well enough for a specific place in the world. When localizing an application, the following important areas are to be customized: date and time formats, currency which is used, keyboard usage, sorting, aligning, and collating data, color schemes, symbols and icons, text and graphical, which in a given culture can be viewed as sensitive or can be misinterpreted. The main aim of localization is to make the product look and feel such that to the target audience it looks like it is specially created to meet their needs. What is the main goal? So that user from various corners of the world would feel like it is made just for them, so the number of target users for some software increases and then it makes more money. When talking about localization testing, that is about UI testing, what should be checked? As we already said, we should check for linguistic errors. We should verify the system's adherence to the input and display environment standards, usability testing of the user interface. We should verify cultural appropriateness of UI such as color, design. Let's give just one example. There is a QQ that is a social media platform which is specially designed for the Chinese people. And it supports language, Chinese, and every other aspects in the specific way for Chinese people. Last but not least, scalability testing is defined as the ability for a network, system, application, product, or process to perform the function correctly when changes are made in the size or volume of the system to meet a growing need. It ensures that a software product can manage the scheduled increase in user traffic, data volume, transaction counts, frequency, and many other things. It tests the system, tests the processes or databases' ability to meet a growing need. Scalability testing is to measure at what point of the software product or the system stops scaling and identify the reason behind it. This is not the final list of all non-functional testing types. There are many more of them, but these are the ones we have chosen. Some of them are really important we will hear about them a lot, and some of them we decided to cover just because they're not mentioned quite often. Now let's just see to summarize what we have in all those non-functional testing types. What are the objectives? So, non-functional testing should increase usability, efficiency, maintainability, and portability of the product. Helps to reduce production risk and costs associated with non-functional aspects of the product. Optimize the way product is installed, set up, it executes, managed, and monitored. And what are the characteristics? Non-functional testing should be measurable, so there is no place for subjective characterization like good, better, best. It should be really measurable. Exact numbers are unlikely to be known at the start of the requirement process. And of course, it is always important to prioritize the requirements. That would be all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. And now, as always, we prepared a few questions for you where you can check your knowledge. And if you pause the video for a second, on the next slide, there will be the answers for these questions. Thank you everyone. See you in the next video. Bye.